how my first phone was stolen in Nairobi. Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sharon Washira. This is a sit down video for me to tell you stories. So I'll be doing more of these often, and this is my first official story time, trying to ensure that they're short, maybe 10-15 minutes maximum. And maybe I'll be doing that when I'm doing my skincare and even maybe days that I'm applying makeup. We'll see about that. So, story one, I want to share a story that everybody has experienced in Nairobi. How my first phone was stolen in Nairobi. Yeah, anyway, let's do that. I'll do that as I'm doing my skincare, okay? So let's start. If I keep looking chin, it's because I'm using my mirror and my skincare is here, okay? So it was in September 2018 and I just moved out. I used to live in hostels in uni. Then I was, just let me give context for you to understand, okay? I joined KU in 2017. Then I was doing two courses at the same time. I was doing two courses at the same time. So I was doing my degree, which was BCom, and I was also doing CIFA in town. You know, the KU is big. I was living in Nyayo too, I think. Then my classes, I would go to KU, then go to town in CBD, Nairobi CBD, to do the CIFA classes every single day. Okay. So the commute was hectic. And then you'd take a matatu. So first, umelala Nyayo. It used to be an average of maybe like a 15 minutes walk. I don't remember. So you go to class, then after class, maybe what time were my classes in town? I think 6 to 8 or 5 to 7, 6 to 8. So after my classes have ended in KU, I take a matatu to town. Then once I get to town, enter class for 2 hours. Then again, take a matatu back to KU at night. So get to the house maybe at like to the hostel at like 9 or 10 p.m., which was so hectic. And I remember I decided I cannot do this. I need to move out. And the reason I wanted to move out is to ensure that I can be alight the matatu and maybe walk maximum 5 minutes to the house. So that's what happened. So come September when you're opening school, again, I find a roommate. Actually, my roommate finds me and we decide we're moving in together. And it was that day of moving, and I still had a CIFA class in town. So all the shenanigans are moving. And you know, I was 18 by the way, so it's not like I had a TV, a shoe rack, all these things, or a fridge. We're just moving in like with a bed and a mattress and like buying utensils. I remember we were waiting for mattresses to be delivered from Naivas. I remember. So that's the context. After all this, I'm going to town. So what happens after that? Nikamaliza shughuli zangu, finished moving, then took a matatu and went to town. So let me tell you, on this specific day, you know, like there are those 34-seater or 32-seaters, the buses, like Kinalofa, it's per metro. Then there are these 14-seaters, the matatus. For some reason, I never take those 14-seaters, but I was so tired and I was running late. I was like, you know what, I'll take the 14-seater. And we drive to town. The matatu obviously goes to town. So nikapanda mat. So for context, vile 14-seater huwa zinakaa. You know, like behind the driver, there are like the 3 seats, then the 2 seats and the 1 seat, and 2 seat and 1 seat, then the 3 seats behind. So I sit in the 2 seats za nyuma. I sit in the behind 2 seats. I sit in the one that's not close to the window, so the middle seat. Okay, I sit there, and then we get to Ngara. On getting to Ngara, I see this guy in a suit, well dressed. He looks like he's from work. Well dressed guy in a suit getting to the matatu, and I'm like, you know, then you question yourself. Like when you notice something, you question it. I remember thinking, were you taking a matatu from Ngara to town? And there was traffic, so it made sense. It only makes sense to walk. And he sits he sits here. He sits, you see, like the 2-seater ya nyuma, he sits on the 1-seater that's usually alone. He sits there and I'm here. And I was on my phone. I remember I had a culture of watching things in the matatu. So then after that, we are now entering town in this heavy traffic. But then tuanza kukaribia some of this place. Audion, but through, like this Kirinyaga road does barabara za nyuma. It's chaotic. Then they tokea somewhere and then they're wanaingia audience sasa. So that's where we were this time. And this guy tells me you need to be careful with your phone. Pause. After I pandad matatu and the traffic was still so bad, the person who was seated on my right akataka kutoka. Vile alitaka kutoka, so I moved from this seat because by at this point the matatu is empty. Like we are barely 5 people in the matatu at this point. It's a 14-seater. But the person who seated on my right akasema anataka kutoka because of how heavy the traffic was. Then gari ilikuwa inatumia barabara gani? Kwa nyingine Kirinyaga Road, itumia all those machuoms it uses and then somehow maneuver its way to Odeon. This person says he wants to I liked. So I moved seats from your two-seater, the two-seater, the second seat, and then moved to this one because now moved to the front two-seater, still the middle one. So now I'm seated here. The conductor is seated here. The guy was in a suit. Remember, he's still in this back seat. He's in this back seat, and this person I'm alight. So as I said, the conductor amerudi hapa. So vile nimekaa tu hapo, I'm just patient waiting for traffic. I couldn't be bothered to walk. I remember thinking I couldn't be bothered to walk. I was so tired from moving. The guy who was seated, the suit guy, the thief, the suit guy wants to move mbele and he tells me, Songa. And he's like, and be careful with your phone. Because remember now we're in that Kirinyaga Road to Odeon area. I'm like, yeah, I need to be careful with my phone. Hey, context of where now I placed my phone. Vile aliniambia hivyo, now let me give you a context. You see, like the backpacks that you usually have, I used to have a backpack. What I would do because of the Nairobi theft, my backpack had a pocket. You see, like the material, the side of the backpack that's this is my back, the side of the backpack that's actually leaning towards your back. There used to be a pocket there. So that's used to keep my phone. Okay? So, and then nimeshikilia tu bag hivi now waiting for the matatu to stop so that we are light. Wacha ifike saa time ya kushuka. Remember I told you were like 5 people in the matatu. I think at this point, I think it's just me, him, and the conductor, or like maybe there was one other person, I don't remember. Mr. Jam ni mwerevu. Nimekaa Nairobi miaka. This was like the second year in Nairobi. So sizibiwa simu. Najua hata mahali pa kuweka simu. So the matatu stops and it's time for us now to alight. Let me finish applying this sunscreen. I'm applying sunscreen. It's almost 4 p.m. But I need it. So automatically, the like mlango matatu imefunguliwa. Also the conductor, the matatu stops. As I said, the matatu stops and now it's time for us to alight because we've reached in town. The conductor leaves. Then this guy in a suit, remember now, he's not seated next to me. He's seated next to me by day now. Because when the guy leaves, the person who's seated on my right leaves, I sit in the front seat, the two-seater. Yambeles, usually two seaters. And then this guy, remember at some point, told me chunga simu yako, but he told me to scoot over for him to sit there. But then when he was sitting there, I thought that he wants to alight. Yeah, I thought that he wants to alight, right? But I remember at the back of my mind, I kept wondering, why is this guy in a suit boarding a matatu like in Gara? And it's not the issue is not the suit, the issue was traffic. There was crazy traffic. He should have just walked. Yeah, because me I wasn't bothered to walk. I was too tired from moving houses that day. Kaniambia scoot akaketi hapo. So, time to alight. The what is it called? The conductor opens the door for the matatu and he leaves. Now it's time for us to move. Another thing, this guy was big, he was huge. So he wants to excuse me nitoke kwanza. So he stands and then moves back kidogo and then it's my time for me to leave. And at this point, remember I had my backpack. I'm holding it like this. What I don't remember, whether this pocket, remember the pocket that's on the front side of the bag, the pocket that's I'll look for a backpack that has such a zip. Like I'm attaching this image here for you to see the context of where like that zip should be. Hopefully I get a bag. So for context, that pocket, I don't remember now it was facing him because remember now I'm alighting the matatu like this. When I'm alighting the matatu, nimeshikilia my bag. So that once I alight, I can now put my bag in my back vizuri and both straps will be here and my phone will be protected. Then I can walk quickly to Star College. Was near Jamia Mosque there. So that's the same thing I do. But I remember feeling this guy is big and angesonga nyuma zaidi and I didn't understand why he insisted on sitting next to me. And I depart. And as usual, Mimi, Raka, I walk very fast if you know me. From Odeon to Jamia Mall, there at Tubman Road in Star College. Raka, and I'm like, I'm going for class despite being tired. And you feel like a highly achieved woman. If you're so tired and you still do the one thing that you needed to do that day. I'm the one that you would have said, I'm not going to do this. It was such a long day. Yeah. So I get to school and the class has already started, by the way. So what used to happen? Come on, class has started. I'll enter school, go to the washrooms, then put my phone on silent, then naingia class. Cheka tu, because you know what I'm about to tell you. Sharon akaenda kutoa simu yake kwa bag. Sharon akona simu? No, Linda, hell no. Sharon's phone is nowhere to be found. And immediately it hits me, the suit guy. He's the thief. He told me, put your phone safe. How he came and sat next to me. How he insisted on me alighting fast. And me thinking he's being a gentleman and just leaving but too tired to give an F. Kaangalia sina simu. I'm like, oh my goodness. How do I call Mrs. Washira? Tell her you can help me move houses and spend all your money on me. Well, looks like we still need more money for afford. Hey, hata sikuingia class. Nikajambia, you know what? I'm leaving. And I left school, then went to Imenti house. There's a friend of mine called Jimo. He's still there till date. And I go to him and I'm like, Jimo, I cried. I told him I need to call my mom and my sister and let them know that maybe Wasimu. So that for communication purposes, and we were always in communication. I've cried. Jimo's like, Tulia. And I didn't have cash, but I remember I didn't have cash. Jimo gave me 200 that day. I called my mom, and then she can hear I'm crying. Then she's like, Nini, mbona hauko class? Kaambia mom nimebiwa simu. And shock on me, mom was like, ni sawa, relax, enda class, tutasort your story baadaye. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, that was affirming. So let me go to class. So again from Imenti house, Shara na haraka zake with my red eyes to start college, na nikaingia class. Then after class, I find my sister hapo downstairs. So let me tell you something now for context, for me to continue this story. My sister Koi, her phone used to get stolen so many times. Such that we had an LG. I remember it was LG E416, E40. I remember there's those small LG phones that zilikuwa toshana na matchbox. By the way, if you're the one I gave to that phone on my sister's funeral, na kunirudishia simu. God can see you, by the way. Just so you know, God can see you. So mom told my sister nimeibiwa simu, or I told my sister nimeibiwa simu. I don't really remember. After class, I find my sister at the reception of Star College with that LG phone. For context, my sister Koi alikuwa naibiwa simu sana sana, to a point where my mom now had that backup LG phone that she gave her as a backup. Ukiibiwa simu, you use that phone. Like my sister used to be bought for phones, I think maybe like twice or thrice in a year. Sometimes even I remember the time she was being bought for phones like every 2 months. Yeah. So anyway, so after class, my sister was there at the reception, Yasta College, with that LG phone. Yeah. So that's how I survived with the LG. But I didn't stay with it for so long. I think I stayed with it for like a week or two. And mom told me, go get the phone you want. And I think that's when I bought the Samsung. Was it A50 or A51 at that time? I don't remember. Or A30. I don't remember, to be honest. Yeah, so yeah, that's what happened. That's my first story with Wasimu. Yeah, okay. So let me know if you'd like such type of stories. I'll be giving them. They're just for fun. There is nothing much. And if you want also to share a story, please feel free to share a story to me. I'll start leaving my email address below so that people can share stories with me for me to share. Because I really love giving stories. I always tell people my way, my mimi vile nilibiwa simu, it was not the typical way Nairobians watu naibiangwa simu. Mine was smart, calculated, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Let me know if you'd like such stories going forward. I would love to be doing them. Maybe now I'll start even doing makeup for me to be doing something because I realized the skincare took such a short time. Anyway, see you next week. Bye.